Good morning, all of you. Welcome back once again to the online classes of TMPS. I hope that you are studying well. You should be studying because it is a very important opportunity for you. You can sit back at home, enjoy your study because it is an audio-visual type of learning experience for you. So please pay attention on the videos which have been given to you and read it and study it very properly. I hope that the previous video was clear to you. Please go through the video if you have not gone through it, because in history it is a continuation. Basically, if you will be skipping one topic and jumping to the another topic, you will not be understanding it. It is very important. You should be doing it stage by stage, step by step. Please, I again appeal you, go through your videos. It's your opportunity to score very good marks in your board examinations, because at this time you can focus on your studies chapter wise, individually, because the syllabus is going on in a proper and a very short manner. So I hope that you have understood the video which was being discussed earlier. Today we will be discussing the period between 1905 to 1916 in the history. Come on, get started. Let's start. So what happens now, we'll be discussing about the events that took place from 1905 to 1916. In the earlier videos, we have discussed that what were the reasons that led to the basic things which were moderates, extremists. We have discussed the two parts of the Congress. Moderates were the pro-Britishers, they wanted the Britishers should be there. Then the extremists were anti-Britishers, they wanted the Britishers should be thrown out of our country. Then we studied about the different agitation matters that moderates basically adopted 3 P's: prayers, pleas and petition. Whereas extremists wanted that the Britishers should be thrown out because they are not doing anything good for our country by a non-violent manner but a firm manner, just as strike, lockouts, gherao and other manners. Today we will be discussing the part which led after these type of events. When these things were going on, we have discussed. Now we will be moving to a portion which is 1905. A very important event took place in 1905, the partition of Bengal. What happened that the Britishers basically wanted to sow the seed of communalism. So first of all, understand what is communalism. Communalism का हिंदी समझ लीजिए सांप्रदायिकता. Communalism को हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं? सांप्रदायिकता. So what is communalism? The Britishers wanted that the Indians should be divided among Hindus and Muslims and they should be fighting among each other. Britishers चाहते थे कि Indians should be fighting among each other, वो आपस में ही लड़ते रहे, कटते रहे, मरते रहे, and the Britishers should always stay in our country for an indefinite period of time and they should exploit our country and they should gain lots of resources and things from our country. That was the basic aim of the Britishers, and till now the Indians also understood this. So what is communalism? Communalism basically was the seed that was being sown by the British government to rift or to create a gap between the Hindus and Muslims, where the Hindus and Muslims should be fighting each other on the basis of caste, color, creed, religion, and the Britishers took advantage of this situation to strengthen their position in India and exploit the Indians. They were doing nothing for good about the Indians, they were just exploiting us. And they were making us fool by making these communalism seeds, and communalism was being adopted as a weapon by the Britishers. Now we'll be moving forward. One more event took place, that was Hindi-Urdu controversy. What was Hindi-Urdu controversy? Basically what happened that in the later 19th century, basically after 1880s to 1900, what happened that there was a controversy that arose in Banaras. What happened that in Banaras there was a case that has to be listened in the court and it was being decided. Till that moment Urdu was treated as an official language, because what happened that Urdu was used by the Muslim rulers which were ruling in India. You know that the Mughals were ruling in India before the Britishers came, and the Britishers did not wanted to change it because they wanted that the Britishers wanted that Muslims and Hindus should fight with each other. That is why what happened, they created a rift more severe by creating a new controversy, that was Hindi and Urdu controversy. in Banaras, what happened? The people told that if the majority of the people are speaking Hindi, so Hindi should be the national language of our country. But what happened, as Urdu was being used as the official language and all the records were there in Urdu only till that moment. So what the Muslim wanted, that the Urdu should be there as the official language. So this was Hindi-Urdu controversy, which later was one of the main events that led for the Muslim League also, formation of Muslim League also. We'll be discussing about these things. What will be moving on. So what happened, that the Britishers wanted to divide the Indians among the caste, color, creed, religion, and most probably among Hindus and Muslims, so that we should be fighting with each other. उनका बस ये गेम था, आपस में लड़ो मरो, divide and rule policy was there, everybody knows that. So what happened in 1905, Lord Curzon gave a proposal of partition of Bengal. So when we are talking about the partition of Bengal, there were two reasons for that. One was the exact reason was what was the reason behind the partition according to the Indians, and that was the real thing. And one reason was given by the Britishers. So two set of reasons were there. So first of all, we'll be talking about what was the reason given behind the partition by the Britishers. The Britishers wanted that the partition of Bengal should be there because Lord Curzon gave an excuse that Bengal was a very big province and it was difficult to administer. What happened, that Bengal at that moment comprised of Bihar, Assam also. So they said that Bengal was a very big province and it was difficult to administer Bengal. So we should divide Bengal into two parts. That was East Bengal and West Bengal. Now what happened? That East Bengal was basically comprising of Muslims and West Bengal was comprising of Hindus. So basically they wanted to divide the Hindus and Muslims. So they said that we wanted that to govern the Bengal in a proper manner, we should divide the Bengal into two parts. So now we'll be coming to the real motive of the Britishers according to the Indian perspective. What happened? The Indian realized that the Britishers wanted to sow the seed of communalism and divide Hindus and Muslims among each other on the basis of religion, caste, color, creed, and that is why they were dividing it into two parts, that was East Bengal and West Bengal, because East Bengal was having the population of the Muslims, whereas West Bengal were having the population of the Hindus. So when this population will be divided among Hindus and Muslims, so it would create a rift between Hindus and Muslims. That is why the Britishers promoted this. But the Indians realized and they opposed it. They formally opposed it. That is why this partition was not successful and a big and a great revolt take place. It was not an armed revolt. Understand that thing. We'll be talking about that revolt, what happened. So what happened in 19 July 1905, basically it was decided we'll be having the partition of Bengal. After that, what happened? The Indians decided that we'll be having a day of mourning. Mourning मतलब क्या होता है? MOURNING. Mourning मतलब यहाँ पर है दुख, संवेदना, दर्द. इन्होंने कहा कि हम लोग इस दिन को दुख, दर्द, किसी की मृत्यु हो जाए उस तरह से हम मनाएंगे when they'll be partitioning this Bengal. So both Hindus and Muslims joined hand together and they shaved off the hairs. Basically what happened, वो लोग अपने बालों को उन्होंने बनवा दिया, सबने अपने शेव किए hairs को shave off करवाया, and they took basically bath in holy Ganga and they signified the Hindu-Muslim unity, and they said that it is a very bad step that was taken by the Britishers. Now what happened? A Swadeshi and boycott movement was started in 1905 only. What happened now? The Indians realized that the Britishers are doing it for the communalist purpose and they want to divide Hindus and Muslims. So I've told you in the previous chapter that Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lokmanya Tilak, yes, he was known as the forerunner of Gandhi. So now you will be understanding why he was known as forerunner of Gandhi. Because Bal Gangadhar Tilak in this year 1905 launched Swadeshi and boycott movement. What happened, that Bal Gangadhar Tilak launched Swadeshi and boycott movement in 1905 and he is known as the forerunner of Gandhi because he has adopted a non-violent manner and the manner which was took over by Gandhiji afterwards. What happened? The people under Lokmanya Tilak launched a Swadeshi and boycott movement, where Swadeshi means that they decided now we'll be using only the Indian goods, and boycott basically means that now we'll be boycotting all the foreign goods and foreign services. Now we'll be only having Swadeshi goods and Swadeshi services that we'll be using. Now what happened? It created a big loss to the government and Britishers, and what happened? They were forced basically to take back this partition. We'll be discussing that. First of all, we'll be discussing that how Swadeshi and boycott movement started. It started with a small movement in the beginning, but later on, as the years progressed, it became a big movement all over the country. Lokmanya Tilak, Bal Gangadhar Tilak played a very important role in spreading this into a mass movement, and the whole country joined against this partition of Bengal, and Swadeshi and boycott movement became a great success. In this only, he introduced the Shivaji festival as well as Ganpati festival to create Hindu-Muslim unity. And finally, in 1911, basically when King George V came to India and a great Delhi Darbar was being organized, once again a Delhi Darbar was organized, then what happened? He cancelled this partition in 1911. After that, what happened? We'll be talking about the formation of Muslim League. Now, a very important portion, that how did Muslim League came into existence? I have told you the Britishers wanted to create a seed of communalism or sow the seed of communalism. That is why Britishers promoted that there should be some body that should be favoring the Muslims and they should be fighting for the rights of the Muslims. They wanted that the people should understand that Muslims were being exploited by the Congress, and the Indians are not liking Muslims, and the majority of Indians were Hindus, so the Muslims would be exploited. So with this aim, they wanted that the Britishers wanted that there should be another party for Muslims, so that the Indians should be fighting amongst each other. In that, we have told you about the communalism activity as well as the Hindi-Urdu controversy. Now what happened? Aga Khan, Bakar-ul-Mulk and Salimullah, they basically met with Lord Minto. Lord Minto was viceroy at that moment in Shimla, and they submitted a proposal that they wanted to make a new party, and Lord Minto was excited with that because he thought that now there would be again a seed of communalism that would be sown. So he agreed to the demand of the Muslims, and the Muslim League was formed formally in 1906. When 1906, so I am telling you the basic years. Years are very important, you should remember the years. Dates are not so important, but the years are very important. So in 1906, what happened? The Muslim League was being founded, and when this Muslim League was founded, the main objectives of the Muslim League were that there should be separate electorate for the Muslims. Muslim League ने कहा कि हमारे लिए separate electorate होना चाहिए, हमारे लिए separate seats होनी चाहिए, जिसमें केवल Muslims ही चुनाव लड़ें. Second, they wanted that there should be separate educational institution for the Muslims. Third, they wanted that there should be separate judiciary for the Muslims, different set of rules and regulations for Muslims, and they also wanted that Muslims should have a proper representation in Viceroy Council. So all these demands were being accepted by Lord Minto because they wanted that the Indians should be fighting with each other. And formally, Muslim League was being founded by Bakar-ul-Mulk, Salimullah Khan, and a very important leader, that was Aga Khan. So these were the people who started the Muslim League. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was also among the founding fathers. And next, a very important person joined Muslim League afterwards was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. He was a supporter of Muslims, but what happened? He was a part of Congress earlier. But he told that Hindus and Muslims were the eyes of a beautiful bride. What happened? The beautiful bride was having two eyes. One eye was Hindu, one eye was Muslim, and they should be living together, because Hindus and Muslims should always live together as a beautiful married girl and eyes of that married girl. But what happened? That the Sayyid Ahmad Khan's mental level or his mentality was changed by the Britishers as he opened the Anglo-Mohammedan University. You know that Aligarh Muslim University, it was founded by Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan. So what happened that the principal or the basically the chancellor of that university was the Britishers, and in his influence Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan's thought process changed, and he thought that the Congress are doing nothing for the Muslims and Muslims should be fighting for their rights and they should be getting their rights by the way of a separate party rather than a part of Congress. That is why he left the Congress and joined the Muslim League, and he played as a puppet in the hand of the Britishers. This question can also be arise that a picture would be shown of Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, and then the question would be asked that who is this personality, which institution he founded, and what was his contribution. These are his contributions. So I hope this much is clear. Next topic is basically Surat split. Surat split 1907. A very important topic that we'll be discussing is the Surat split. What was Surat split? Basically, in 1905, when Swadeshi and boycott movement was launched, the moderates and the extremists, they were the two wings of the Congress, I have told you. Yes, the two wings of the Congress was joined together in 1905. They thought that we'll be now fighting together against a common enemy, that is the Britishers, and we'll be throwing them out from our country. But what happened in 1907, there was a Congress session at Surat. But what happened, the extremist leaders such as Lala Lajpat Rai, Raj Bihari Bose were not allowed to speak. They were not allowed to speak, and the chairs were thrown on each other. And again, the Congress was split into two parts, that was moderates and extremists. There was a division in the Congress once again. That is known as Surat split, a very important question that can arise. Next, we'll be talking about Morley-Minto reforms. Morley-Minto reforms, that is 1909, is also known with the name of Government of India Act 1909. This was the first set of legislative reforms that was being brought by the Britishers. What happened? The Britishers now extended the Viceroy Council. What happened earlier? All the decisions were taken by the Britishers only, but now they wanted that they should be showing that we are doing good things for the Indians. We are not anti-Indians, we are pro-Indians. So what happened? They gave some executive council for the Indians. They opened some seat for the executive council. But what happened? The final decision was being kept by the Viceroy only along with him, and nothing much was happening. Second, there was elective reforms also that was being told now. Legislative assemblies would have elections, and the princely states can also nominate and elect their own members. And now voting would be there, now elections would be there, now democratic process would be there. But again, the final decisions were being kept by the Britishers only. So this type of reforms were not so successful as they were in the hands of the Britishers, and it was just merely given to show that they were doing something, but in actual they were doing nothing. They were making fun of the Indians by providing them an empty spoon. They were providing us an empty spoon, they were just fooling us. Next, a very important and the last event of this chapter, I've told you about the cancellation of the partition that happened in 1911 by King George V in his visit in India, Delhi Darbar. He cancelled the partition of Bengal in 1911. Next, a very important event happened in 1916. That was the Lucknow Pact or the Lucknow Session. Basically what happened, this event is very important as it marked the unity of the Congress and the Muslim League. There were certain good things happened in this legislative assembly, or you can say that in this Congress session. We'll be discussing that. But before that, understand what was Lucknow session and why it happened and why they joined. You know that the First World War started in 1915. The First World War, when it was started, the Britishers were killing the people of Turkey and destroying the whole caliphate. Caliphate मतलब क्या होता है? खलीफा एम्पायर होता है मुस्लिम्स में, और उसको वो ब्रिटिशर्स पूरी तरह से डिस्ट्रॉय कर रहे थे in the First World War. And when this was being done, तो Muslim League was thinking that the Britishers are not true toward the Muslims. Now what happened in 1916, a session of Congress was being organized in Lucknow under the chairmanship of Ambika Charan Majumdar or AC Majumdar. Basically, when this session of Congress was being organized, in this session of Congress, Lucknow Pact is a very important pact, because in this pact, moderates and extremists joined hand finally together and Congress became one, irrespective of moderates and extremists. Now single Congress was there. Second, there was a very important agreement that was being signed with the Muslim League, that now Muslim League and Congress would join hand together and fight against a common enemy, that is the Britishers. They will not fight among themselves and they will not fight among each other, and they will fight against a common enemy, that is the Britishers. Muslim League and Congress joined hand together, and in future they decided that we will be working together for the betterment of our country. After this chapter, we will be discussing about the Gandhian era in detail. For that, plus study this video very properly. It's a very important video. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe this channel. Please also like our Facebook page. Thank you very much.